But first, we have a couple of videos from our sponsors. Firstly, Insulet, followed by Medtronic. Again, please pop any questions for the sponsors in the Q&A box so they can answer as many as possible. After the break, there is a bit of a after the videos, there's a bit of a break. So do be sure to go and get some lunch, stretch your legs, and take your eyes off the screen for a second and think about what we've been learning so far today at the conference. But be back here for around 1:22 because after lunch, we've got several special guests, including a furry one. Find out more later.
Simplify your life with Pod Therapy. The Omnipod Dash insulin management system is simple and discreet, consisting of just two primary parts: a tubeless waterproof pod and a touchscreen personal diabetes manager, known as the PDM. Simplicity is just the start of it. The Omnipod Dash pod is discreet, lightweight, tubeless and waterproof, and can provide up to 72 hours of continuous insulin delivery. It contains a small, flexible cannula that inserts automatically. You'll never see it and barely feel it. The pod can be worn anywhere insulin would usually be injected and allows you to free yourself from daily injections, tubing and wardrobe compromises. You can stay connected to your basal insulin delivery and your favourite activities. Run, swim, play, and simply enjoy life. All controlled with a few finger taps from the convenient Omnipod Dash PDM. The Omnipod Dash PDM is discreet, intuitive, and easy to use. With familiar smartphone-like technology, just tap a few buttons on the Omnipod Dash PDM and your bolus insulin is delivered. And with a built-in bolus calculator, you can spend less time on maths and more time enjoying meals, more time enjoying exercise, more time with friends and family, more time just being you. The Omnipod Dash system gives you the freedom to live your life. For more information, please speak to your healthcare professional.
My name is Jade Bird. I am 34 years old and I started on Omnipod 4 years ago. I wrote Daisy Donald, which is a story about a little girl who's a type 1 superhero as well. I was aged 4 when I was diagnosed. It was 1989, so it's very different back then to how it is now. I had been drinking loads, going to the toilet a lot, and my mum had recently read an article about type 1 diabetes and she picked up on the symptoms straight away and took me to the GP. She was like, I'm convinced she's type 1 diabetic, and they were like, no, she probably just got a water infection or something. But she convinced the GP to test me and I was, so I'm glad she did.
My name is Marcus, I'm 48. I think what makes me smile is running. To have a choice of pump for me was it was the only way forward because I'd rejected all I'm going to say traditional style pumps because they didn't suit my lifestyle. I perceived that they didn't suit my lifestyle and I didn't want that. I think if this wouldn't have been available, I still think I'd be using needles. I wouldn't be on that.
I eat so much, I snack all the time. Like most days I'd get into double figures with my injections easily because I love carbs. So I was constantly injecting. I was first offered a pump, I think, when I was a teenager, early teens. Obviously, very different pumps to what we have now. And I was absolutely dead set against it. No, don't want a pump. I did not want a pump. And it was 15 years after they first offered me a pump that I finally got a pump.
My name is Hannah, I'm 27 and I first played golf when I was 6 with 2 golf clubs in Aberdeen at the beach with my parents. So, with my older brother, yeah, a few years ago now. I've been diabetic for nearly 20 years and I've been on the Omnipod system since August 2018.
So my name's Kelly and this is Sky. What we like to do is play board games, go outside, play basketball, football, play with our bunnies, go swimming, lots of active sporty things really. Sky was diagnosed last July with type 1. Consultant was quite keen as well to try something different to see what would work for you. And we moved over to the Omnipods and absolutely loving it, aren't we?
Yeah.
Off you go and have lunch and use the pod. Or whatever, I got a sandwich or whatever it was. And then sat down and it was that moment of realisation that I don't actually need to give myself an injection here. And like the first time in, 16, 17 years, whatever it was. And that was like, oh my gosh, so then being a geek, out comes the calculator and you think, well, 5 injections a day for 17 years, it's about 32,000 injections. That emotional moment of thinking, I don't need to do that anymore, I don't have to. Because I've got like some scar tissue around my middle that's now finally starting to sort of recover. But 32,000 injections and just not having to was incredible.
My name is Mirta, I am 23 years old. I really like eating and eating out, like to just hang out on the sofa with my boyfriend and my cat and hang out with friends. I chose pump therapy twice. The first time I chose pump therapy, it was because my doctors told me it would be the best idea for me. I was only 10 years old, so I didn't really know what to do and I just went along with it. The second time I chose pump therapy, I really made the decision myself because I was ready for it and I just felt much more free, although I'm still not really free because I still have type 1 diabetes, but it makes managing diabetes just that little bit easier. The first time I had a pot on, I just danced through the kitchen and I just couldn't stop dancing because it literally felt like I was free.
My name is Khalid Kashta. I'm 27 years old. My hobbies are working out and reading and learning about diabetes, sports and nutrition. When I was on MDI, I used to inject a lot. I used to have to change the needle every time I inject, so it just made my life easier in a way.
So I was on multiple daily injections for a long time actually, a lot longer than some people are. But I went to the pump to try and make things a little bit easier, the fact that I could make life on the golf course easier and travelling. I wasn't having to do injections in security or mid-round in a golf tournament whilst it was raining and things like that.
When she was on injections, we had to always plan on when to give injections, had to plan our timings a little bit better. We're not the most organised family, so that was a bit of a challenge for us. Those sort of things, having to worry about when you're out, where you were going to give yourself an injection, having to find somewhere. Sky's quite confident, she doesn't mind giving injections, doesn't mind showing your pump off anywhere you go. You're quite a proud type 1. But some people do give you funny looks sometimes, don't they? With the Omnipods, we now don't have to because everything's done via your monitor. We can sit at the restaurant, have a meal, and you can just type in away everything that you want into your machine, can't you? And it's a lot more simpler. Even on road trips now as well, we haven't got to pull over to give an injection. If Sky decides she wants some sweets like the others, it's just a lot simpler, a lot easier and able to manage.
The first time I was actually holding the dash, it's such a nice looking insulin pump. It doesn't even look like a pump, but it makes me just that little bit more motivated. I don't mind grabbing my pump and doing a bolus in public. It's actually quite fun to do it and quite easy. So yeah, it made my experience with Omnipod even better.
The most helpful features with the Omnipod system is definitely it being tubeless. And second thing is how I can suspend insulin whenever I want. With the Omnipod system, if I need to suspend the insulin completely, I can do that. So that I use that a lot, to be honest. Like whenever I go through a very high intensity exercise that I know that is going to drop my blood sugar levels.
I'd 100% recommend someone going on to Omnipod if they're on injections. I mean, I changed over and it changed my life, being able to feel a little bit freer and not doing injections in certain places, or even the hassle of doing it in airports or in a round of golf when it was, you know, chucking it down with rain or something.
I would definitely recommend the Omnipod DASH system, and I would say give it a go. Order the sample pod. Check first of all if you like the size of it, if you like how it feels, and where to attach it exactly.
I would definitely recommend trying the Omnipod. It's definitely been changing for you, hasn't it? And I'd highly recommend to anybody just to give it a go and to see how you get on. For Sky, it's made her life a lot more easier and given you a bit more freedom. So if anyone's thinking of doing it, I'd say just definitely go for it.
Meet Emma and Catherine. They both have type 1 diabetes and aim to keep their glucose levels as stable as possible.
What are you focusing on when thinking about your diabetes? What are your goals?
As well as trying to have an HbA1c of below 7, I aim to have a time in range over 70% of the time.
What is time in range?
Time in range is the amount of time your glucose levels are between 3.9 and 10 millimole per litre.
Okay, so what's the recommended time in range?
The goal of 70% means spending over 17 hours each day within this time in range.
Is time in range replacing HbA1c?
No. HbA1c is the standard measure and gives an indication of how your therapy is helping you to manage your diabetes.
So what does time in range tell me?
Great question. Time in range shows the day-to-day quality of glucose stability and highlights the time spent in hyperglycemia or hypoglycemia, so when your levels are above or below these levels.
So looking at both HbA1c and time in range gives a more complete picture.
Exactly.
Why are we aiming for 17 hours a day within time in range?
The guidelines of spending over 17 hours time in range per day were recommended by an international group of diabetes specialists, as having high blood glucose or low blood glucose can be harmful.
How much time should be spent outside of this range?
The group recommends less than 1 hour per day below and less than 6 hours per day above this range.
That's interesting. What other impacts can spending too much time outside of this range have?
Did you know high blood glucose has been linked to low mood?
I can relate to that, but achieving these targets isn't always easy.
I agree. There are multiple factors that affect your glucose levels.
Exercise, hormones, and stress can affect my diabetes. Plus, no 2 days are the same.
The therapy you're on, such as multiple daily injections or an insulin pump, plus the technology you use, such as intermittently scanned continuous glucose monitoring, can impact the time and range you can expect to achieve, as well as the effort and time required to think about your diabetes management.
What time in range can you expect from different therapies?
Injections plus finger prick, 45%. Injections plus CGM, 51%. Injections plus intermittently scanned continuous glucose monitoring, 58%. MiniMed 780G system, 75%.
I feel like having a time in range goal of above 50% is good on my current therapy, but it does take a lot of time and effort. How can technology help with my diabetes?
Utilising technology, such as an insulin pump with advanced hybrid closed loop, helps to regulate your glucose levels as insulin delivery is automated based on your sensor glucose readings. This limits the time you spend above 10 or below 3.9 millimole per litre and can reduce complications.
So the insulin pump and CGM talk to each other and make some of the decisions for me.
Yes, the MiniMed 780G system automatically adjusts and corrects glucose levels every 5 minutes as needed.
So that could improve my time in range.
Precisely, and also reduce some of the time and effort that managing type 1 diabetes takes.
It's good to know how technology can help with my diabetes, what time in range is, and what targets to aim for.
What you need to know. Aim for 17 hours time in range, between 3.9 to 10 millimole per litre. The goal is to spend less than 1 hour below and no more than 6 hours above this range. Looking at both HbA1c and time in range gives a more complete picture of your glycemic profile. Technology can help improve your time in range, as well as reducing some of the burden associated with managing type 1 diabetes.
Living with type 1 diabetes is like doing everything in your daily life while keeping a balloon in the air. It's a constant balancing act. Stepping out into the world can be challenging. Sometimes draining, sometimes lonely. It's an invisible condition that isn't always easy to explain, even for us. Sometimes we need the support and guidance of others. We all have our own ways of keeping our balloons in the air. Join the Blue Balloon Challenge, and for every post, Medtronic will donate €5 to the Life for a Child organisation to provide insulin for children living with diabetes.
Hi, my name's Anya and I'm 11 years old. I've had type 1 diabetes for over a year now. I was on the insulin pen for 9 months and I got the Mini Med 780 on my birthday, which I was very happy about. I got taught carb counting, and there is some foods that you can't really get exactly, which I think the pump is amazing about because it's always your backup plan. When I was in the insulin pen, I was about 50% in target, but now in the insulin pump, I'm in over 80% in target, and in the 90s too. On one day, I was 100% in target, so I was so happy about. I'm a very sporty person, and I play Gaelic, netball and dancing, and I think that the pump is amazing for them sports because it always keeps your bloods in range. My favourite thing about the pump is that I can just go out with my friends and relax and not really worry about my bloods because I know it's always giving me insulin. I think my mum and dad's favourite thing is the app because they can see when I'm in school my blood and they don't have to worry about me either. The pump is very, very good for just going out with family and not really worrying about it and just not worrying about diabetes either.